Hello my friends, it's been quite a journey so far this morning. I've been doing a lot of milling. We already had the shelves and the sides and everything all thicknessed, but what I've been doing is I've been jointing the edges and putting them to their final widths, and also squaring off one of the edges. I want to be done with the dimensionings of the sides and the shelves today and the rails. So that will only leave the top and these back pieces to do later. I'm going to wait till the end to get those done because I want to make sure everything fits with everything else. So where we're at is this is the final shelf that we need to work on. It is the bottom shelf. I labeled them all. The third shelf. So this one needs to be 10 3/4 wide. I have already jointed one edge, just like we did with the glue up. I guess we didn't do that for the glue up, but all I did was I squared the edge to one of the faces, and I picked the face based off of what I think looks best from the up on the top part. So the top of the shelf is where I use my reference face from, and I squared up this edge with that face. So we have a reference edge and a reference face. I chose the edge on this board specifically because I have this wane that's here and I want to cut that off or get rid of it. That's where the bark is showing through. So we're going to go from here to the back on what we need for this. Now, this has to be 10 3/4 wide. I already marked a line on the back side to kind of cut back on the video. It's already going to be a long video for this one. So what I'm going to do, let me kind of get you so you can see this better. I'm going to, my ruler is a little bit too short to run a line down the way I normally like to do it. So I've just got this turned so it's loose and it can move, and I'm just using it as a ruler. So I'm going 10 3/4 and making lines down all the way down because I don't have a straight edge long enough. Now I could use the other shelf that's also this, because I have two shelves that are this thick, this width, but I'm doing it this way to kind of show you how I did it on the other one. And I'm going to take a straight edge and connect the lines. Now I did one in the middle because I want to, my ruler's not long enough. So I'm going to find my marks. Hold it down tight. Strike a line. And now I'm going to check it with this final one. So I'm lining it up first with that center mark. And something's not quite right. So we're going to check these again. Ten 3/4. right, that is right. Okay, so double checking. You can always, it's always best to check it before you move it. So I must have just not had this on right. Okay, slipped a little bit at the end, but that's okay. I got a line all the way across. So now I have a line all the way across. Now, this is a kind of a thick line. It's a 1/2 inch. That's kind of on the verge, and if you would decide you want to saw it or not. But I'm actually going to show you how I'm going to do it. Is I'm just going to take my number 5, and we're going to scrub that, plane that down. Now, let's turn it around. I think this will be the grain direction. Just going to back you away so you can kind of see the whole board. So all my planes are freshly sharpened. I've done that, I don't even know how many times. As soon as they start getting hard to push, I sharpen them. The oil just helps the plane move. So what I'm doing first is I'm going to try to make this line equal all the way across. So it's a little bit, there's a little bit of a high spot right here, but actually I think I got it down already to where it's fairly even. So I'm just going to line it all the way across. I'm going to keep making it deeper because alright, to see this, this cap iron, I won't be able to show you, but the cap iron is sliding up. And it is something that I've had a problem with this scrub plane, with this plane. I don't know if it's the brand. Well, the other one doesn't seem to have a problem, but this one does. So sometimes if it's not getting a deeper cut when you turn it down, check that the cap iron isn't sliding instead of the board. One of the first projects we're going to do, and we're alright, so what's going on? I think I need to widen this mouth out. I think that's part of my problem I'm having with this lately. When you do a lot of milling, you'll start seeing things that you want to fix. So I'm just trying to get as thick as shavings as possible. This is a coarse tool. So I won't bore you with this. It's going to take me a little bit of time. And again, I probably could have cut this, but it's won't take terribly long. I'll try to keep track of how long it takes, and I'll come back and we'll finish it up. So I'm just going to get down close to that line, and I'll show you in a second, but I won't waste your time for that. So bring it back. Okay, so we have this plane down, so you can, I don't know if you can see this, but it's just barely to that line. I got a little bit carried away down at this end. I'm going to stay away from this edge a little bit. But I'm done with that, so I'm going to go to my number 6. See if I set it up a little bit. Just to get it down till it's just about to that line. Make sure it's even on both sides. Good. Now it's close. That'd be a good time to check for square, just to see how far and what direction I have to go. Okay, so this is my reference edge. Pretty good. So if I can maintain it. Okay, so it's a little bit off this side. It was flat down there, that's why I brought it back on. Again, so I'm hanging my plane off the edge. Staying good. Yeah. So close. I think I'm going to take a full width shaving. Thinking I was skewing it over, so I'll probably have it all split again. So close. I think I'm going to call that good. It's a little bit more. Beautiful. Okay, we're just up a little bit here. That's probably how I was starting it. Nice. So now we have another edge. It should be 10 1/4. Ten and 3/4, I'm sorry. Just double checking. It's pretty good. It's within a 1/16. It's easily within a 1/16. Probably less than that. Probably 30 seconds. It's really pretty close. I know you couldn't see that, but all I did was, sorry, I wasn't on camera very well. I just measured from one end to the other, and just like this, just like you would. So anyways, you don't tell me to show you how to measure. So now we have 2 parallel sides and 2 parallel thicknesses. So now we need to square up one of the ends. Now, I'm done with the number 6. Find my reference edge. It's hard to see marks on the walnut. I'm not writing new ones, I'm just making them darker, so hopefully I can see them a little better. Okay. So, this is my reference edge. I'm going to take my marking knife. If you can see here, there's a little bit of a step. So I'm going to take as close to that as I can. It's sloping in a little bit on the back side, so I'm going to do that edge first. Because I think that'll solve that. So I'm going to do this edge first. I'm just trying to find the lowest spot. So that's my starting line. So I'm going to square all the way around. Remember, the first pass is light and the pass after that is heavier with a sharp knife. My knife gets sharpened every time I sharpen anything else. Well, if I've used it. You can put this in the vise if it makes it easier to hold, which some of these longer boards it does. Make sure you're always referencing off of the reference edge and face. So I'm going to put my knife in the nick. Take your time, there's no rush. And I'm not registering on this backside, I'm just continuing the straight line. Because even though it's probably, if you look at it is, It is actually it is registered. I could use it, but I'm not trusting that. I'm just using that line. To register my square again. So I'm just picking a couple points along that line, make sure it's registered, and then drawing my line across. If you take your time with the other edges, making sure they're parallel, it will work. It'll be just fine for that. But you never trust it. Check and see your lines match up, which they do. Now, I have quite a bit to take off this back side here. It's probably 1/4 inch. So instead of going to my smoothing plane, which I want to be very sharp because we're on an end grain, I'm going to take my scrub plane, or number 5, and use this blade so that it keeps this blade sharp. So, little oil helps us out, and so does keeping it nice and low in the vise. Keeps the vibration down. So all I'm doing is knocking off some of that excess wood. I'm not really paying too close attention to how it's if I'm square or not. It doesn't really matter yet. I'm just getting close to the line, and then we'll move on to from there to the smoothing plane. Also, I'm not going all the way across. Okay, so I'm probably within, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. I could continue on with that, but I'm going to go on with the smoothing plane. I'm focusing on just this side first, and then I'll come over to there. Breaking both sides. Good. So if I'm ever going off to one side more, I'll just tip my plane back. I'm trying to stay away from that line, that knife line, as long as possible. So now that I got both edges done, I'm going to go towards the middle. And this is where you got to watch out that you don't blow across all the way through, because you'll split off the end there. There. Okay, let's check it. So now you can just barely see the knife line, like I'm probably a little high right here. but everything else is good. You can also see just a slight lightening of the wood along the edge where your knife compressed the fibers. So find your reference side. And I'm going to check for square. I know this side's not quite right, but I'll kind of give you an idea. Yeah, I have a little bit more to take off right here. But it's fairly square across everywhere else. I'm going to take just a little bit off this back edge and a little bit more right in this section. This is something that does take some skill to learn, but it's so much faster. Alright, so that's square. And that's all you needed. So we have a planed edge. So now we need to cut these down to length. And we have a whole bunch of pieces that all have to be the exact same length. So, otherwise it'll throw off our thing. So I'm going to kind of, well, this video is not terribly long. We're actually going through pretty quickly. Helps if you've been doing the same thing all morning long. You kind of get in a routine. So I'm going to clear space and line up all these boards, because all your shelves have to be the same length, width. And your rails. So I'm just making sure they're all squared off. And the reference edges are all on the same side. Bear with me for a second. Okay. So the references, I'm just keeping those to the back here. I'm going to flush up my squared edge. And you can always tell the planed edge because the other side's not been touched. So it's rough. And then these also. When I planed these off, I use the shooting board because they're kind of small, and if you see, I tried to do it without it, and there's a little bit of a tear out right there. So the shooting board will help with that. So again, my reference edges are all along the edge here. What I'm going to do is clamp these together. Flush them all up. Take your time. This is kind of important. Okay, cinch this tight. Now all I'm going to do is get one more clamp. Okay. It's pretty close. So now I'm going to put this in my vise very carefully. Okay, so now we've got all these clamped together. They're flush along this edge. So what I'm going to do is I need to mark out the length. That was the best way to show you this. So you see these are all different lengths and everything. We're going to square that down. So this bookshelf, 36 3/4. So I'm going to do is just slide these up just a little bit. And this isn't long enough, so I'm going to grab a tape measure. Slide this down, 36 3/4. It's right there. Make my little mark. Take the square. One of these is a reference edge, also reference face. That'd be great. Perfect. So this far side is a reference edge also. So I'm going to take this, where's my mark? Right there. And now I'm going to do is I'm going to square this off all the way along, so that entire length. So I found my mark, register my square. Now, all of these, we're going to cut to that line. We're going to use that as our registration point. So now, let's take these off so we can take some of the weight off. We do the same process with the sides also, so if you want to do this, I'm not going to show that because it's the exact same process, but now I'm not exactly sure which one I used before, but we're going to use this one just because it doesn't matter. They're all exactly the same. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to find that mark that we made. It's right there. So we have our reference right there. And it's a reference edge and face. Well, they're all going to be on the reference edges because we made sure we put the reference edges on that side. And then we just square it off just like before. Again, I'm not on the reference edge anymore, so I'm just using that line as my guide, and not the side of the box, side of the shelf. Again, reference face, strike a line. Now, this is my reference edge, and that's the original line. So, reference against that. Flip it around, because my ruler's not long enough. Use that line as the reference. Make sure they all line up. Okay, what I just did there was I let this line drift. So I need to make a new line. Watch that. Keep your square tight against the edge. That's much better. Okay, that's why you always check and see if they line up. You can fix things here, but not so nicely at the other edge. Good. Now this is quite a bit to cut off, to plane off. So what I'm going to do, there's some space. Actually, I'm going to cut down that line. And I'm staying away from that line. I want to stay well away, but I'm just going to cut down that excess. now we're much closer, depending on how far close you were. Depends if you want to use the scrub plane or the smoothing plane. I'm going to use the scrub plane, or the 5. Just get a little bit closer. I normally try to stay within 1/8 of an inch before I use my smoothing. Okay. If you watch, the line will show up if you have a deep enough one. So you can see it here, but not over here. So I need to cant my plane over just a touch. You can only do this with a sharp plane, so make sure your planes are sharp. Good. It's important, because we are final sizing these, not to go past your lines. Where's my mark? Okay, that's good. That's good. We go a little bit more on this far side. You can barely see the line. Nice. Okay. Yep, that's all I needed. Good. This is not my reference edge, but I'm just going to check it. Just to see. There's a little hump right in here. There, that took care of that. Okay, so this shelf is completely done. I shouldn't have to do anything else to the shelf. So once I do that with all the other shelves, that will be completely done. I'm also going to cut the length and do the same thing, make the sides. I'm also going to do the sides of the bookcase and cut them to the exact same length together. And my aiming for is 57 1/8. So next time I see you, we'll start working on the joinery for this. I hope you guys are liking these I'm kind of trying to do a shorter video, but I still want to show you everything. So that's kind of a hard thing to do because things take time. So I'm trying to show you how to do one operation and then just kind of do the rest of the operations off camera. If you like that approach, leave a comment below. But I want to thank you guys all for coming, and I will see you guys next time. I have so much time off right now that hopefully it won't be very long before the next video, but I'm putting them out as I get them done. So I'll have my post on Instagram, kind of let you guys know what when they come out. So that's a good way to kind of keep eye on when they come out. Again, that's Plain and Chisel Woodworks on Instagram. So thank you guys, and please subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoy these. Thank you. Bye.